So I heard a tutorial. The way that we make hair in Blender with curves is that we first need to add a path. You can do it by pressing Shift A, curve, and then add a path. I like using paths. You can use Beziers. I'm not going to get into Beziers in this video, but I prefer using paths. And so I'm just going to use paths. Move it like somewhere along the, the lines where you want it to be. For this, we're going to be making a symmetrical hairstyle because I want to use the mirror modifier. So let me move all things to the place where they have to be. There we go. Now, the next thing that we need to do is we need to add, and you can add it anywhere. It doesn't really matter too much. Just add a circle. And then you're going to want to rotate it 90 degrees, right? This is just for your for ease of viewing, I suppose. Press Shift A, curve, and then add a circle. Rotate it 90 degrees. So it's looking at you. You can scale it up. That's fine. It doesn't really matter too much. And then you can press F2, copy the name of it, or you can change the name if you want. Click on the curve. Go over to curve properties or object data properties over here. And then you're going to scroll down to geometry, bevel, right? Object, and then paste that name in there. And now, as you can see, we have a tube. Now, we don't want hair that looks like tubes. So what we're going to do now is that we're going to select the circle that we have here. And we're going to go into edit mode by pressing tab, or you can like control tab and edit mode, or you can also do it like through here. Press tab, go into edit mode. And now you're going to be adjusting these handles, right? And if it happens that it, I'm moving the right handle and it's moving the left side, all you have to do is just rotate it 180 degrees. See? And now there we go. Now if we move this one to, make sure, we move the others to make sure that it's looking the way that it's supposed to be looking. And now pretty much just make the shape that you want. Make sure that you're using medium points. Just scale it down. Or actually, you know what? You can move it. Just adjust it to the shape that you want. You can scale it up, scale it down if you want to. One recommendation that I can give you, right click in, edit mode with your shape circle, I suppose, for the hair, and go to set handle type, change it to free. What this is going to do is that it's going to allow you to move all the anchor points to create shapes in an easier manner. If you don't want to do this, pretty much you have to stay here. And as you can see, if we move these, it doesn't really look that good because, like both of them move. If you want to keep using these though, all you have to do is just subdivide, right click, subdivide. And that way you can add more points. But I feel like this is a little bit annoying, so I don't do that anymore. Just right click, set handle time, set it to free, and then make the shape that you want to make. If you want to add more points, again, right click, subdivide. See, and we can keep doing this over and over again until you get the shape that you want. Now, pretty much all you have to do is just keep extruding. If you need to, I suppose. Another thing to keep in mind is the order U. This is basically going to make your curve look like smoother or super sharp. If this is what you want, this is what you can do. You can lower it all the way down to 2. Me, myself, I like it. I like my curves to be like really, really smooth, so I just keep it at 6. You can scale down or up the points. Any point along the curve, you can scale it up and down by pressing Alt S. And then if you want to make the tip of the hair, all you have to do is just press Alt S and then 0 on your numpad. It works also with the 0 on the letter side of the keyboard, so you can do that as well. If you want to get rid of points along the way, you can right-click over here, Dissolve Vertices. You can get rid of one of them if you want to. I use Ctrl X for that. And then just keep moving until you get the shape that you want. A recommendation that I can give you, the part that is coming out of the head, just make sure that you extrude a little bit more inside the head. That way you're going to have a lot more control over the whole thing. Because if you look at this, right, whenever you move a curve from specific point, from specific end, it's going to dance and wobble, and this can be really annoying. And that happens because the curves have normals. And this is pretty much what controls the normals of the curve. As you can see here, this is the first one. This is the starting point, and it goes up. And it goes this way. So you pretty much want to make sure that you identify which is the starting point of the curve. So you don't run into these kind of issues, right? That you're trying to move the tip of the hair and it wobbles and dances like crazy. If for whatever reason this is what you have, that you move this end of the hair strand of the curve and it does this, all you have to do is go over to select everything, the whole curve, go over to segments and then switch direction. I have it set to Shift Control D. This is not a default thing, but if this happens a lot to you, I recommend that you actually set a shortcut for that. And then just keep pressing, until you have the direction that you want. And basically all you have to do now is just keep placing things whatever you want to place them, right? Let me add a mirror modifier. And then just duplicate and then rotate if you want to. Do this as many times as you want. And pretty much from this point on, it becomes a moving game, right? You want to move things around and place them in the place that you want them to be. Another recommendation that I can give you is to try to work with each single hair strand like as its own object. That way you don't get this mess that, from some angles it's real difficult to see. Which point are you actually grabbing? So my recommendation for that will be to select the curve, press P, and then separate. Right? Do the same with the other one. Select, press P, separate. You don't want to do it like you don't want to do these and then move them and rotate it outside, because if you apply transforms, they're going to look a little bit different. You might get undesirable results. So just keep that in mind. Try to do everything inside of edit mode. That way you will be able to keep your sanity. And honestly, like, this is about it. Again, you're going to keep doing these over and over and over and over again. Until you get the hairstyle that you want. As you can see here, if you get those, like, I don't know, if you want to call them artifacts or whatever, this is happening because on the mirror modifier, by default, whenever you add it, merge, it's enabled by default. You want to get rid of that for the hair. Because if you don't do that, if eventually you want to turn this into mesh, you're going to right-click, convert this to mesh. Let's see, convert to mesh. See, it all becomes a one single thing, and that's because it merged some vertices along the way. Well, if you apply it with merge turned off, and then you convert to mesh, as you can see, it's its own mesh. So just keep that in mind. Another thing that you can do with curve is that you can twist them, right? By pressing Ctrl T. So if at any point you need something like this, I suppose you can do this, right? If you're moving something, you're actually like placing the hair, but actually like around, and you don't want it to look this way. You actually want it to look a little bit more like that. You can do that. If you want it to look a little bit more like that, you can do that. You can do that with Ctrl T. Well, alternatively, you can do it over here, like the tilt, see, and the radius if you want to, but I feel like this is like a little bit more difficult to control. So yeah. Anyway. Yeah, happy hair making, I suppose.